What is up? It is Red, the Rideshare Ginger, coming right back at you, and about to go get a Lyft in, but I want to get a quick video out here for you to address some things out there that are being said that don't make any sense. And this is addressed at another Uber tuber, however you want to describe them, another Uber driver who does YouTube that is putting information out there to deter you from using something that he's not quite understanding. And I'm not gonna call him out by name. The link's in the description. I'm sure you can figure it out if you're on my channel. You've probably watched his videos a lot. And like I said before, respect what he does, his grind, his hustle. And without finding his videos, I wouldn't be making the money I'm making today. So with that being said, he's got a hate for Lyft and doesn't understand it and doesn't understand how it works. So in his, not his latest video, because I think he's done 2 videos since then, he's popping them out like too crazy. So maybe he's addressed this in his other ones, but just in case he hasn't, I wanted to get this out here. He's talking about he's actually got 3 things that are incorrect in his Lyft video. 3. One of them I'm doing a whole nother video on, so I'll address that later. But the 2 things, he's talking about being 17 miles away from a power zone, and he's talking about demand. Let's first address the demand thing. Surge and prime time or power zones aren't based solely on demand. So yes, Lyft is showing you there's a lot of demand downtown at points in time, but there's a lot of drivers too. And power zones and surge as well, the same thing. There has to be supply and demand mismatch in order for there to be surge. And just because there's high demand, a lot of requests happening, doesn't mean there's not enough drivers to meet that demand. And the drivers is supply, demand, or the riders. So yes, it's going to show a lot of demand and you might not get a power zone, but that's because it's not just about demand, it's also about the supply. They're not showing you where there's a shortage of drivers, they're showing you where there's a lot of requests. So you just got to understand how the app works and what they're showing you for that to make sense. Second thing, 17 miles away. So he's got downtown and there's a power zone 17 miles away. Well, he was by that power zone at one point in that neighborhood, somewhere within that range, and he just had to not look at his map until he was 17 miles away. So power zones, it's a little bit of a flaw in them where once they pop up, they take a long time to disappear unless something happens. But for the most part, I've had power zones sit there for 20 or 30 minutes while I drive away from them, which I can't guarantee anything, but I'm gonna tell you more than likely that power zone was there when he was out in that area and then he drove 17 miles away and it was still sitting there because they just don't change frequently. That's where the power zone was and that's where they wanted him to be. So yes, you can get a great distance away from where your power zone started before they initiate a new power zone for you. You just gotta understand that. You gotta be looking at the app constantly, whether you're online or offline, because it'll pop up a power zone for you while you're still offline to encourage you to go online and get into that power zone. So you got to be checking your app semi-frequently if you're really hoping for power zones and trying to take advantage of the power zones. So I wanted to address those 2 things definitively really quick because they're incorrect. And I think it's just due to his hatred of Lyft. He sees everything negatively that Lyft puts out. And I think even in the economy drivers that I'm talking to, the X drivers, the ones that aren't premium that I'm talking to, are liking power zones as well. They pop up in unexpected places. They're just, you don't want to be where all the demand is to get a power zone. Yes, it will happen sometimes, but you want to be slightly away from that demand to get the power zones to pop up for you. And while unlike a premium driver like me, you're not gonna be able to hold it for a long period of time, but you can set up in that zone, let it rise, and we've been running tests on it. It's anywhere from $18 an hour to about $22 an hour, somewhere right in that range. And you're gonna sit there and make, call it on average, $20 an hour for doing nothing. Where else can you sit on your ass and make $20 an hour and not do shit? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Just wanted to address those 2 things. There's one more thing that was said in that video that will be the next video that I do. And here's the thing, I'm not saying I love Lyft. I have my issues with Lyft too, and you'll see that in my coming videos. I got a couple of things that I really need to address about Lyft that are pissing me off. But those 2 things, the power zones are good here in Chicago. I can't speak for another market, but here in Chicago, they are working well. And the drivers that I'm talking to, the full-time drivers that I'm talking to that have been using them for, 2.5 weeks now, most of them that understand them and understand how they work like them and like that they're picking up a bonus. And I'm getting more Lyft bonuses than I am Uber Surge. And that's because I'm focused on it. I'm watching it, I'm paying attention to it, and I'm seeing the same thing from other drivers as well. So I want to address those two things. It's just inaccuracies. And if it gets that far away, it's probably because it generated when you were back in that area, or at least close to that. I've had some power zones pop up when I'm, 3 miles from it. And in Chicago, 3 miles can be, 40 minutes depending on the time of day, but 17 miles isn't one that happens. You don't get a power zone that pops up 17 miles away. It pops up when it was probably 1 mile away. And that's most frequently for me. My power zones pop up on top of me or 3 minutes away from me. That's where most of my power zones pop up if I see them when they pop up. There's other times where I'm like, oh shoot, I'm driving the wrong direction and that power zone's way up here, but I hadn't looked at my map for 5 to 10 minutes. So it was probably right on me or right behind me when it generated. But check out my videos from before and just let me know what you want to see going forward. I got a laundry list of videos that I got to get out here just based on viewer requests. So I might be looking like some of these other YouTubers and putting out a video every day, which I don't really like to do, but I got to get the concerns addressed and give you guys what you want. So like, comment, share. Let me know what you want to see, what you have questions about. I answer comments the best I can. But until next time, thank you and I appreciate it for watching.